ジョーの野郎。鬼姫が完全にぶっ潰しやがって。
Oh my god. Hello everyone, welcome to Joe Consumes Cinema. I'm your host, a punch that will make him fight me serious. And today we have Ashita no Joe, episode 73. So this whole thing where Joe, at the end of the episode is coming back on the train, we're probably going to get our reunion right off the bat. It should be really cool. I'm kind of wondering if Dangpei is going to be a little bit hesitant to take Joe, back on as a fighter, because what he saw of him when he actually tried to visit him was not anything, that would encourage him in any way, really. He just saw Joe standing there getting, his brains beaten in. But it was actually a good thing because he was daydreaming about Carlos and, what he's all about, what he's really capable of, and he's obsessed with them in the same way that he was obsessed with Rikishi. So that's very good. We need someone that can fill that rival role for Joe, and he fits the bill. Top 6 in the world. Really, he should be ranked higher. The higher-ups are actually afraid of him and are ducking him, and that's relatively rare, but it actually does happen sometimes in boxing. I'm pretty sure Roy Jones, when he was making his rise, people ducked him left and right, but it was understandable just because how good he was. But yeah, I'm very eager to get to this one, so let's just get right to it. Sando Baguni Kao Megake Tatake 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 Ashita wa Kitto Ashita wa Dochi da. The cross counter returns. Okay, Joe's gonna lay somebody out. Joe's back, but he doesn't have a ride. Nobody knows he's here.
とうとう帰ってきちまったぜ。カーロスのいるこの東京へ。ジョーだわ。ジョー。
I think he was gone for maybe a few months. Quick reminder to like, comment, share, subscribe. Also consider signing up for my Patreon. For $1 per month, you get access to all my exclusive reactions, also a guaranteed movie request. With that, let's get right back to the reaction.
知ってるぜ、俺はジョーが帰ってきたの。
バカ言え。ジョーが帰ってくるわけはねえ。
本当だって、うちのやつと一緒に見たんだよ。帰って。おーい止めてくれ、止めてくれ。わしのジョーが帰ってきたんだ。下ろしてくれ。
Yeah, he needs out of here.
やんやろう、東京へ帰ってながら、わしんとこへ来ねえとは見かけによらず恥ずかしがりやで。
彼はジョー・ヤブキを最大の強敵の一人と感じ緊張しているのです。
That's a good thing.
彼が来ます。
え？お嬢様、お客様でございますが。
Oh shit.
矢吹くん。
やあ。就職のお世話などをお願いしたいと思いましてね。
就職？
なんせ土佐回りを追い出されちまったんで、つまり無職なんで弱ってるんだよ。そうなりゃその3人と対戦した経験のあるスパーリングパートナーがいりゃ、こいつは実に貴重なんじゃないかね。
雇いましょう。
決まったぜ。いいんだな。
Alright, Joe.
So Yoko's whole plan was to get, Joe's attention so that he would come back to fighting, not so that he would be a sparring partner.
おい、見たか？矢吹ジョーだぜ。
いよいよ食い詰めて、かつてのライバル、力石徹の所属していた白木ジムで殴られ役を演じるとはな。
よ。なんだよこれは、このバカでかいグローブはよ。
それは私の指示よ。
け、こういうろくでもねえ指示はあんただろうよ。これは16オンスじゃねえか。試合用の6オンスとは言わねえが、せめて10オンスぐらいでやらせてもらいたいもんだね。
She doesn't want you hurting him.
そのスパーリング待ってくれ。ジョー、やっぱりおめえや。このスパーリングはやっちゃならない。いや、このわしが何としても許さない。さあさあ帰るんだ。
何しやがるんで。
ご心配はよくわかりますけど、2人のつけているグローブは16オンス、つまり剣道に例えるなら市内で打ち合う程度の道場稽古。
いくら市内で打ち合おうが、市内の一撃でも脳天を打ち砕くことは可能なんだ。
Yeah, this is not going to be a friendly spar. They're gonna try and kill each other.
なあ、アロバさん、このスパーリングだけは何としても。
おい、イエス。何としても中止しましょう。
ジョーの笑うの無理ありません。これはただのスパーリング。
This is gonna be good.
早く鳴らしなさい。
ジョー・ヤブシ、貴様が本当に俺の強敵にふさわしい相手かどうか、じっくりと見てやる。
お互い遠慮なく行こうぜ。
ヤッホーとフレイエほらカモン
Really good jab. Oh shit. It's beautiful.
やろう、クロスカウンター出しやがった。しかもロープの反動に全体重を乗っけて、しかも力石をやったテンプレ思いっきり。
Stayed on his feet. No more games.
アロス一瞬ふらついたぜ。
落ちぶれたジョーも殺し屋の片鱗をわずかばかり残していたというところか。
貴様はやはり俺の強敵の一人。ならば時と場所を選ばず今ここで倒す。それが俺のやり方だからな。
置いてきやがったな。来やがれ巨竜。へへ。
Oh shit.
やっと本音を吐いたじゃねえか。
いかん、よせよ。やめろ。
Really back and forth.
ジョー、やめるんだ。これ以上続けちゃなんねえ。やめろ。
なんだよ、せっかく盛り上がってきたのに。おい、会長、邪魔すんなよ。
カーロス、矢吹君、リングを降りなさい。これは白木事務会長としての命令です。
アロスもかなり頑張ったんだな。
いや、内容は五分五分だ。何しろジョーのあの一発が効いてるからね。
野生児ジョーが蘇ったとは。
さあ、おめえは早く着替えをしてくるんだ。
Yeah.
大丈夫だよ。しかし聞いたぜ、奴のパンチは。へへ。
He's feeling it too.
恐るべきジョーの天賦。これが6オンスのグローブだったら、今頃俺はトール力士のように。
Oh my god.
さあ、これはスパーリングパートナーのお礼よ。
へ、金なんかいらねえよ。カーロス・リベラ対原島龍。
その試合であなたはきっとカーロスのもっと凄まじい強さを見せつけられるかもしれないわね。
Her plan is working.
楽しみにしてる。とカーロスに伝えてくれ。
Oh yeah. Okay, took some time just to gather my thoughts. Episode 73, fantastic episode. So we get Joe's return. He doesn't go to Dangpei, he doesn't go to the kids, he doesn't go to Nishi. He goes right for the Shiraki Boxing Club, hoping to run into Carlos. He's not there, so he goes to Yoko's residence. And then he pitches this idea of, hey, you know, why don't you hire me as a sparring partner for Carlos? You know, I just lost my job with the boxing troupe, and I could use some money. You know, we have a history together. Right off the bat, I thought she would decline, saying, no, if you want to fight him, you have to do it in the ring. Because her plan ultimately is to bring Joe back to fighting. And not just bring him back to fighting, but bring him back to his, you know, actual form when he fought Rikishi and he was trying his best. This whole promise that they have of Joe living up to Rikishi's memory and, you know, making amends by accomplishing something in boxing, he's not living up to it yet, but, you know, he's coming around to it. And this was a big step forward in, I think, keeping that promise. So the actual spar was very interesting. The media was there, and right away they were hyped. Both Carlos and Joe were wearing headgear, and they had 16-ounce gloves on. Now, if you've never thrown a punch with those, they're kind of like having pillows wrapped around your fists. You know, it's a lot of cushion, and it's very difficult to really generate anything that, you know, would really do any severe damage. And during their spar, they were cracking each other back and forth, like, and drawing blood. So both these guys have a lot of power, and even Carlos said there, when Joe hit him with the cross counter, like, his knees buckled and he almost went down. Stayed on his feet, but, like, just barely. And, he's in the shower after the match, and it's like, he drops to the floor and says, if those had been regular boxing gloves, like an actual match, he'd be with Rikishi right now, dead. So yeah, like, really intense spar that was more like an actual fight than it was, just a friendly spar. Even with, the pillows on their fists, they were still doing a lot of damage. Both guys have a lot of power and are very aggressive. Dangpei burst to the door after learning from that couple that was at the train station that Joe had come back in town, and he knew right away where he was most likely to go, tracked him down. They were already in the ring, and nothing was going to stop him at that point. Dangpei attempts to stop Joe, but, he has none of it. It's very clear from watching this spar that, this is not going to be enough to satisfy Joe. He needs to see more. He did, get him to the point where he acted serious in the fight, but, it's not enough. They're wearing headgear, they have pillows on their fists, it's just not the same as an actual real fight. Both guys, managed to hurt the other, and they're pretty evenly matched, all things considered. I think Joe is probably just a little bit rusty, needs some fights to finally get back into, proper form, but I think that's going to happen. Right now we've got Carlos's fight against Hirajima. He should easily win that. I don't know if he's still going to go ahead with the, feigned weakness and then try to set things up where he lands, quote-unquote, a lucky punch, even though it's not a lucky punch. But, the same thing that he did with Nango, he might repeat that again, or he could be so amped up from this spar with Joe that he just goes out and murders the guy. Like, it's totally possible. But yeah, I'm very eager to find out, and I'm going to get to that right now. So as always, thanks for watching, and peace.